Hi, welcome to the best podcast in the universe. We have Brian Stofiel from Stofiel Aerospace. So the FBI is probably watching.
Oh yeah,
Got a rocket scientist here. So tell the 15 to 15 million people what your company does.
We are a spaceflight company. Family started, so we have 3 generations of the Stofiel family in the company. Myself, my daughter, and then my mother. We funded the company for the last 5 years, bootstrapped it, and basically we've all had day jobs, and we've taken no outside funding. This allows us to actually control our direction of the company. But right now we're producing our first product called Boreas. It's a small satellite launch system. So it's for payloads between 15 kilograms to 250 kilograms. And we take it up on a balloon, and then we launch the rocket from 100,000 feet. So the rocket is
right before the atmosphere, basically.
Yeah. It's the edge of the atmosphere. The idea is you take a cork in a glass of water, you let it go. The cork only goes to the top of the water.
Yeah.
Same thing with the balloon. But what we are is we're outside the atmosphere. So I use 70% less fuel and I have no aerodynamic surfaces. So I don't have what they call max Q, max dynamic pressure, as you go through Mach 1, Mach 2, Mach 3. Okay, I don't have that structures. I don't have a lot of that problems.
Right.
So it's 30% less engineering, 70% less fuel. Where you have a 40 or 50 foot rocket, I have a 10 to 12 foot rocket.
And this is like a model of it.
That's pretty much a model.
Smaller.
Yeah, so what you see is the fairing, which is the regular nose cone that you see. And then we are not a liquid system. We are a solid rocket only system. So these are different solid rockets, different charges that are going through a single exhaust system.
And this is what it looks like after it goes, comes back down, basically.
So this is a burnt nozzle. We burn this with AP propellant at about 3,000 degrees and 10,000 PSI. This is PLA plastic, and we've applied a composite ceramic we've developed in a positive molding process.
So it looks like it looks just like this before it goes up, basically.
So this is PLA plastic, came off of a $500 3D printer. Okay. I actually, the print itself looks terrible. You can see the lines on it and everything compared to the statue, which is fairly clean. But what it is we printed this. Actually, this nozzle takes about 6 hours to print. We coat it with our ceramic, and then we fire the engine through it. So this is no longer plastic. This is a ceramic. And actually, I've taken a hammer to it and slammed a hammer on it. If I did that with this, it would shatter very easily. So what we can do is actually scale, because we're solid rockets, we can scale the rocket to the payload, and we're not a max lift rocket. So SpaceX, ULA, NASA's SLS, they have to fill up the whole payload of the rocket in order to launch efficiently, right?
Yeah.
So they put a lot of these small satellites on this rocket to get it filled up to the mass. We don't have to do that. You tell me what size payload you want, and I fire that size payload. This goes to what the customers were asking for, which is on-demand service.
Yeah, that's crazy. You just 3D print rockets now. Yeah. That's like fucking crazy.
86 hours, one person.
And you can make an entire rocket in 86 hours?
86 hours. It takes a 12-year-old 86 hours to build a rocket.
That's crazy to think about.
And we actually do that. We let my 12-year-old, she actually teaches the other kids how to do 3D printing, how to do 3D modeling. What we found is the kids learn better if we teach one of them or 2 of them, and then they go teach the rest of the kids.
For sure, I can see that.
The language is different that the kids use. Yeah. She was surprised I knew the term meme. And I said, Bella, I'm probably the most technical dad out there that you know. If you know it, I probably already know it. Okay. But the kids' languages are different. And we're just starting to see this with the acceleration of the technology. But like I tell my daughter, all of human knowledge is on the internet. You don't need me to ask a question to me. You can go to the internet and answer the question.
That's basically just like the new Library of Alexandria.
Exactly.
It says everything. But I think it's funny when like you look at other countries that don't have space programs, and you have a 12-year-old making rockets. Like in America, it's like I love this. I love this country and the innovation.
Well, and we're not the only father-daughter team in the space industry.
That's interesting.
So Bigelow Space, him and his daughter run that company together. ULA, which is Tory Bruno, him and his daughter run their company together. So what you actually see in the space industry is you see families get together. You see companies being named after families, the Hugheses, you know, the McDonald's.
It's almost like NASA dropping the ball and not being very innovative, really. I mean, they're still a great company. I'm not going to take away anything they did, but I'm saying like what they're doing now is kind of not innovative as much.
What we're coming to terms with is that NASA is not really about space flight. They're about science.
Yeah.
Okay. So their charter was keep America first in technology.
Yeah.
Don't make us last in anything.
I feel like they didn't know what to do after the Cold War. There's like, who are we competing? Like, who are we competing with? Like, what? I think competition. Like, they look at the Apple Windows thing. Basically, like the only reason they're well is because they're competing with each other. Now there's no competition. There's no like you're not seeing like maybe China soon or Japan. Japan kind of is now. Yeah. I think though. Japan's
well, China's the one.
Yeah.
China's really coming on quick.
That's crazy to think about.
And they have a very dedicated program. The marketing though was that it was a space race, right? We're racing against the Russians. If you look at history, it doesn't actually bear out. We were helping each other.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah.
We're docking with each other.
Because they're like the first in space, I think. And
they were the first in space.
They were the face of the moon, and then like it goes back and forth. Like,
well, they were the first satellite in space.
Yeah.
They were the first human in space.
Yeah.
The only reason we made it to the moon first was their rocket blew up on launch.
I didn't know that.
This was a secret program that the Russians ran.
They ripped off the Nazi rockets. Less good.
Actually, they got the second tiers.
Yeah.
For the rockets, so they were stealing from us more than anything.
Oh, okay. So it's funny. So
they went after some certain scientists, and we went after certain scientists. We went after the rocket guys,
and
the nuclear
guys,
right? And they went after some of the manufacturing and the intellectual types.
Yeah.
So there was a disconnect there, but NASA's never been a civilian program.
Yeah.
As much as they like to deny it, they've kowtowed to the military. And to this day, 60% of your astronauts are military officers.
I've had a feeling that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, but I had a feeling. Space Force is a controversy only because Trump put it out there, right? Yeah.
But you notice that no senator, no congressman, no politician has come out against it. And that tells me a big thing. Because looking at the supply chain and looking at the legislatures, it's already happening.
Yeah.
It's not coming. It's already here. What we're hoping for in the civilian space flight is they start declassifying technology, right? And make it to the American public to say, hey, we've already got these space planes. We just haven't told you that we have them. That's why we're going to Space Force.
Yeah, you have some plans too for
we have Hyperion.
You want to talk about these?
Yeah, so we have small satellite return vehicles. We can take your payload and bring it back to the Earth. It launches off the rocket like this, carries about 30 pounds. We can put 3 of them on the rocket. And then it will actually use atmospheric skipping to change its vector. It will also stay in orbit longer and be closer to the ground to give you better imagery for longer by using these.
They were telling me too, you can move asteroids to the moon to get them for resources. You do like move objects in space with those too, right?
We can move objects in space. We've got propulsion on it, a little bit of propulsion.
That's crazy.
This is the start of our space plane program. So we start using it first with satellites, and then we move up to a manned space program. A lot of people ask if we're going to build heavy launch systems like the Falcon Heavy. We actually don't. We think the space planes themselves are actually more important to the economy. And that goes to the manufacturing in space. So Made in Space has already got a 3D printer on the space station. They're about to put a fiber optics manufacturing satellite. So you're going to manufacture fiber optics in space and then bring it back down. Bringing raw resources up there is not the most great thing. So all you need is silicate. It's glass.
Yeah.
Right. So you actually will start mining resources to bring to the manufacturing satellite, and then just load raw resources into it. And that's what we see as the long-term vision. It doesn't make sense to keep lifting heavy objects off the Earth.
Yeah.
When there's a lot of heavy objects up there we can manufacture from.
Yeah.
And that's why the NASA has decided to go back to the moon versus going straight to Mars, is to get this planetary economy up and running.
What's the closest one? Yeah. There might be asteroids.
Well, there's an energy advantage to going to the moon, okay, versus going straight to Mars. It's a long trip, right? 3, 4, 6 months.
Yeah. How long does it take to get to the moon?
The moon, with certain rockets, you can do it in hours. Okay, we're talking about 4 or 5 hour trip from here to the moon. We want to get that journey down to one operational cycle of the pilot.
That's crazy.
Okay. And that has a huge advantage.
So like what, 9 hours round trip from some resources from the moon, pretty much?
Pretty much.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. And there's other points we've got near Earth asteroids. We don't have to go to the asteroid belt.
Yeah, I like that you brought that up. That was interesting too. So I was, in my head, when you first were talking about the asteroid mining, I was thinking you had to go to the asteroid belt, just like naively. And then you were telling me that like there's actually already asteroids like going around the Earth and stuff. You just get the ones in the orbit, and that kind of blew my mind a little bit when you were saying that. Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
And so you don't have to go far. Well, there's also balance points in the Earth system. So we talk about the lunar, we talk about low Earth orbit. What we don't talk about much in public is Lagrange points. So between the moon and the Earth, there's a gravity point where you can stay in orbit without having to use propulsion systems. And that's where they talk about gateways. Yeah. Right? Going to this and having a space station there.
Is that where you'll mine resources, you think?
Yeah. That's where we're into mining resources because you don't want to bring it back to the Earth. Like I said, it's heavy. It's expensive to get off the Earth again.
Yeah. I was just like thinking about how to get it back and like without burning it, without and then being like you're like also like the asteroids into the ocean or something, like then grabbing an asteroid from the ocean or whatever. Yeah. It just seems like really weird to even think about it.
And smelting, there was ideas that we had the idea to smelt the asteroid as it passes through burns through the atmosphere. Yeah. So you spin it and it throws off the heavy stuff and the light stuff burns away. Yeah. But the real manufacturing is going to happen at these Lagrange points. You're going to set up a manufacturing site. You're going to bring in resources, or you're going to set an asteroid there and just start mining it. One of Bella's great ideas is we're not going to build an interplanetary spaceship. We're going to bring an asteroid in. We're going to hollow it out, strap a propulsion system to the back, strap sensors and life support, call it a spaceship.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Okay, because the energy you put into manufacturing structures and the manufacturing like plating and armor and all that is gone. Yeah. Now you're talking about a very easy spacecraft that can survive getting hit by a meteorite.
Yeah, and the sunlight and all
the radiation. Yeah, that's great. You're underground.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things she brought up very early. The other one was the reason she wants to engineer biology. And that's why she's got us aimed at the Saturn system, Titan and Enceladus. Titan has 164 different hydrocarbons. Fossil fuel is not really a scientific term anymore because we're finding oil, raw crude hydrocarbon oil on other planets.
Would that almost like say that that's from life forms or that we misunderstand fossil fuel?
One or the other.
Yeah, it's like kind of
one or the other.
That's very interesting to think about because yeah, it could be either.
I mean, there's the one question I always present to the kids is I said, look, let's say there are aliens. Okay, that's fine. Look, good. We've got problems. Let's say that there isn't. What does that really mean? What is our responsibility to life now? If there's no other life out there except what we find in this solar system, if we're the first, right? Yeah. Is our responsibility now to seed life throughout the universe?
I mean, that's interesting if we are the first. That's an
interesting
concept. Like we may just be the first life out here. Like,
it doesn't matter if we're alone or not. Either option has some amazing ramifications for humanity.
Yeah, we should put people on the moon to argue with.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm part of a group for all moonkind. We want to protect the historical sites on the moon. Yeah. Because there are actually commercial operations that want to go to Apollo sites and pull artifacts back to Earth.
Because it's so profitable.
Profitable.
It is. But yeah,
but you destroy the site because...
It's like getting ivory or something. Yeah. It's just like you ruin something good to get something you could sell. Yeah.
I mean, there's a scientist out there. She wants to go get the pee and poop bags because
the stomach... like 100 grand or something. Yeah.
But the stomach biology, the biology of what goes in your stomach and in your waste products... They don't know what that does.
Yeah, not yet.
In long-term exposure, the flags that are on the moon, they're white. They're not red, white, and blue anymore. They're white because of the radiation.
Sun, yeah, that makes sense.
So there's the footprints are going to still be there.
What do you think about people that say we haven't been to the moon? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like that argument?
I have no. Yeah, it's like the flat earthers. What do you want me to say?
That's a great fucking.
So here's what I say to you guys: $250,000. I will take you to the Kármán line and let you see the curvature of the Earth with your payload. It's a family-run rocket. There's no government involvement here. For $40 million, I'll take you to the moon. Okay? I'll take a payload to the moon for you. Okay? Yeah, there's no government involvement, no government funding. This is a family project.
Which is why the FBI are probably outside.
Yeah, I get. Well, the funny thing is, my 12-year-old daughter catches them because we do get surveilled on a regular basis.
And they're probably smart enough to see. Like we're like adults, we're kind of like dull more so.
We're dull.
They're more on
to it. Yeah,
they're more on it. Yeah.
But yeah, you don't mistake this. The energy levels we're talking about. Okay, we're talking about 17,500 miles an hour. Okay, you think your car's fast? No, your car ain't nothing compared to a rocket. You're talking about an object that could re-enter the atmosphere at 17,500 miles an hour and strike something for the price of a small car. So while we don't build weapons, okay, everything we're talking about, just because of the power levels we're talking about, are weapons. The U.S. government considers it a weapon.
I mean, they're rockets, yeah.
There's 5 countries I'm not allowed to go to anymore.
What countries?
Well, most of them you don't want to go to. North Korea, Iran, those type of places.
Because you know how to build rockets and they can use you to build rockets. Oh,
China. Okay. I'm not allowed to go to China anymore.
Wow.
Because you'll disappear.
Wow.
Okay. Because I'm a U.S. asset. I cannot renounce my citizenship anymore.
Yeah.
Because I learned to build rockets here. I can't take my company overseas. I can't take overseas investment. I can't.
Wow.
There's rules after rules after rules because we were the leaders.
Yeah.
Right. That technological barrier to entry has fallen, and I point to India as a great example. Within 10 years, they have a manned spaceflight mission. Okay. They're up and running from literally wheeling their first rocket on a bicycle to the launch pad to launching a human next
year. So it's 1959 there. They're about to get to 1960. It's at 1959 and they're going to 1970 without going through 1960. Yeah.
Because you don't need to technologically. When we work with the old Mac's old team, they're the guys that here in St. Louis that built Mercury and Gemini spacecraft. They did not know how to do space. So they did a lot of experimentation. Okay. They literally did not know how to do space. So you had to figure it out.
Yeah.
The story I love is a guy goes home and says, hey, they were at work talking about the heat shielding on the capsule. And he goes home and has his wife sew up asbestos cloth in a bunch of different configurations. The next day he shows up with a box and everybody's like, oh, I thought we were just talking. We were brainstorming. He goes, no, you don't understand how this works around here. As soon as you got an idea, we test it. And that's gone away.
That's where everything gets done, though, I think.
Yeah, that's where everything gets done. It's where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah.
But if you look at the science and product development right now, everybody likes to be inside the computer. They want to simulate thousands and thousands and thousands of times.
Yeah.
That does no good for me with my rocket because we've developed new novel fluid dynamic principles.
Yeah.
So the only way for me to do simulation is to fire a live rocket and take the data and plug it into the simulation.
I mean, yeah, that's how you figure anything out, just doing it.
Yeah, we've gone back to the old method of doing it before the computer.
Yeah.
And then we go plug it into the computer. And what we're finding is we can do one of these rocket tests for $100. It cost me $100, $150 to run the test. That data is worth $2 million every time I run a test because of the new type of data we're producing. Right?
Yeah.
If I had to do this 20 years ago, every time I fired a rocket, it would have cost me 3 months worth of manufacturing and about $30,000 to set the rocket up.
Huh.
I can now do this. I can print a rocket and fire a rocket a week. I did this January, February, March, fired 1 rocket a week every week. Okay. And each one of those cost me $100, not $30,000, not 6 months worth of somebody's time. And that's what the 3D printer is. We say on-demand launch, it's on-demand manufacturing, but it puts the manufacturing in your hands, in everybody's hands, okay? It's not a matter of, okay, how do I build a prototype anymore? It's, okay, let me go to my printer and model the prototype, and hours later, you got it. When we teach kids to 3D model, what I usually teach them is I teach them to use the printer first, and then I go and teach them to model. And by the time the printer's done, they're pretty good on the modeling already. I usually give them about 5-10 minutes of instruction, then I have to get out of the way. I usually have to kick them out of the house. But they're doing the same thing. They say, hey, I don't need to buy a toy. Bella calls me up and says, "Hey, I'd like a baby Groot statue." She didn't want me to buy one. She wanted me to print one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She won an award. She came last year 5th in the world as a new space leader of the year at 12 years old.
Wow.
Okay? So they didn't give any prizes or anything. It was just it was an honor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we designed a trophy for her and printed her own little trophy.
That's awesome.
So that she can remember that, yeah, I got this.
That's crazy to think about.
You know, when she went to space camp this last summer, we sent her to space camp. I sent her there with coins, 3D printed coins. They take maybe 20 minutes to print and cost me a few cents. That says my logo on it, right?
Yeah.
And she handed those out to the other kids.
Smart.
You know, the simple things. The kids don't want to sit there and be passive. So you see a lot of the blogs where they're watching other people play video games and stuff like that.
For sure.
They don't want to be passive.
I feel like no one does. They're just more honest about it.
Yeah.
Well, like, to be honest, yeah.
They're more honest, right?
Yeah, there's like still.
And really, society right now is set up for passive people.
Yeah, sadly.
Sitting in an office.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking earlier, the education system is set up for factories.
Yeah.
You're supposed to sit there and do your work in a nice, orderly fashion.
Innovators have ADD now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like any innovators, like, oh, give them Adderall or something.
Yeah,
like,
give them Adderall.
Make them boring and normal, like everything. Maybe they'll like a Beaver song or something.
And that's and what we see is in the education system, they like to specialize. Okay, so your basic education gets very generalized, and then as you get higher in education to college, you start specializing.
Yeah,
and then you get the PhD.
Yeah.
Right. What you see in business is you see generalists, guys that don't have PhDs. Okay,
like MBA or something.
Bezos. They don't have degrees.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Okay. What they do is we go around to other industries and we learn.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we call it is industry bias. I have a problem. We solved it in the industry this way. We're the only one that has this problem. In the space industry, I give the example of cryogens, very cold liquid helium and oxygen and nitrogen. You get any thermal coupling, it blows up. That's what usually blows up a rocket, is the cryogens. But we have the same cryogens in MRI and superconducting magnets. So when I look at the valves that the space industry uses and the valves that the medical industry uses, they're two different types of valves. Well, when I look at the space industry, it's not the best valve compared to what I've worked in the medical industry. Space industry likes to slam valves closed, and it causes just shock throughout the fluid and causes it to blow up.
Yeah.
If we did that in the medical industry, right, you blow up a $2 million magnet, you may kill 2 or 3 people because you evacuate all the air in the room. When it becomes helium, becomes gas, all the oxygen gets sucked out.
Yeah.
And you kill 2 or 3 people. You kill the $1 million machine, you kill the $100,000 worth of helium.
Yeah.
So as a business, it was our advantage to say, hey, I don't want that happening. Don't ever use a valve that can slam shut.
Yeah.
And so we see this across a lot of industries. And what we see with successful, the Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes was not an aviation guy. He was a mining guy.
He was an heir. He was an heir that just like did all this crazy shit.
Well, no, he actually made all his money. You know, the drill bit.
Drill bits, yeah. His parents had a drill bit company. They died. Yeah.
Well, he's the one that designed the drill bit for his parents.
I didn't know that.
That's where he got his money from.
I
didn't
know he invented that. I thought he was
the three turning drill bit is his design. Okay. But he then goes to a different industry and fixes that industry. Yeah, he goes to a different industry.
Repeatedly, yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. In his 20s, he was in Hollywood trying to bang everybody.
Making movies. They're huge. Got aviation. I mean, hundreds of planes for actors.
Yeah. And then like World War II, he's like making like parts for the military and stuff like that. Yeah, dude killed it, man. That guy's great.
You see it with Elon, and what you see is you see a generalist going out and making a strategy. So Elon's got his SpaceX.
Yeah.
That's his rocket. He's got his electric car, which is your rover on Mars.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he's got your Boring Company, which is your habitat. You're not going to be living on the surface of Mars. There's too much radiation. So you're going to be living underground.
At first, right? Terraform it or something, yeah.
Yeah, until we can terraform, until we can bring a magnetic field back up, until we can do some of this stuff. You're going to be living underground. You're going to be mining underground. You're going to be living there. You're going to be farming there.
Yeah.
He's got 3 companies that are all the technology he needs to go to Mars, and your guys are paying for it.
Yeah.
By buying his flamethrowers, his hats, his cars. that car is a rover. The reason he put it in space is he's sending it to Mars next. And I'm not really joking here.
No, I believe it. You're right.
Is a rover.
You're connecting a lot of dots that I didn't think about.
Elon's money was made making PayPal.
PayPal and X.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Okay. Bezos is Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay. Neither of these are specialists. They're generalists.
Yeah.
They go to an industry. They say, how do I improve this industry with what I know from previous industries?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where you see the big innovative people.
Yeah.
Because you don't see them specializing. You see them being very generalized across a lot of.
And they usually come from like their parents' basement, I feel like.
It's
very overlooked.
There's a lot of that.
It's very overlooked. Because like if I'm interviewing, like if I was like owned a company and someone had a degree, I'd be like, nah. But someone's like, I live at home still. I'm like, what do you work on? What are you doing with your free time? I'm like, I almost go to that more than like degrees. I feel like
my girlfriend at the moment, she's a little weary. Right, we've been dating for about a year, and she pays for a lot of the stuff at the house.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was, my bills get paid and that type of stuff for the family, so I'm taken care of. But if we want to go out to eat, I don't have any cash.
Disposable.
I don't have any disposable. I haven't had a paycheck, an actual paycheck from this company ever. In 5 years, I've probably made $30,000, $40,000 in 5 years.
Yeah.
I went from making, let me give you a scale here. I was a field service engineer in medical imaging. I was making $120,000 a year, company car, company expense account, plus overtime.
Yeah.
Okay. It was regular time plus overtime.
Yeah, that luxury leash.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was making around the average was about $180,000.
Nice.
I quit my job, went back to school at 35, moved in with my parents, and basically went and started building this business.
That's legit where I meet all the people that have like ideas, that have like foresight. Yeah. It is like these people in the exact same situation. I feel like where they deny like big paying jobs, or not like have time, and then this is the most valuable resource, and then like figured it out. Yeah.
The biggest lie that right now is being told about society is that you should ever trade time for money. If you work at an hourly rate, you are wasting your life, because your life is finite, right? I can predict your earnings out the rest of your life. Well, I did that.
Yeah.
I was making $180,000 a year, right?
Yeah. And nothing really changes other than you probably eat out more.
You eat out more.
That's pretty much when I see people that make that money. They literally they don't really do much more other than like to eat out.
Well, that's
nicer restaurants.
That's a different subject. I'm an adventurer.
Okay.
Like I said, the Rocketeers are a different breed.
I noticed.
I did 2,000 miles on my motorcycle because it was 55 miles a gallon, cost me $75. I went to Detroit, Cleveland, and then down to Mississippi and back to St. Louis.
For $75?
For $75.
Wow.
This is the stuff that you got to be willing to do.
No, definitely. And you're for sure.
For $75, I mean, I'm going out to California here shortly on my motorcycle. It's going to cost me $250 in gas.
Yeah.
It's going to take me 2 or 3 days, but I camp along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I go to conferences. I can't afford that hotel at $140 a night.
Yeah, just get through Kansas and you're fine.
So, yeah.
After Kansas, all paradise. You got mountains. You got all those deserts and shit.
Next Generation Suborbital Conference in Colorado.
Nice.
And it was $140 a night to stay in all the hotels around that area.
Yeah.
We went up about 20 minutes away into the mountains, got a campsite at the national park. They have hot showers. They have bathrooms. Okay. So you got your amenities.
Yeah.
And we camped the whole week. So for 7 days, instead of spending $1,000 on just the hotel room, something you're usually not in most of the time anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We spent $140.
That's hilarious. I feel like I relate a lot to this, like in like comedy and stuff. I feel like entertainment's almost the same thing.
Yes.
Like in the beginning, like in my early 20s and stuff, it was like crashing on couches and just like and just doing the same thing, like finding the cheapest ways, using Megabus to get to Chicago for $5, and using finding these weird ass like hustles like Airbnbs and like all these weird ass hustles like that.
I haven't had a new car ever. Yeah. I will probably never buy a new car.
I don't own a car. I use those motor scooters and like the public transport in this town.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so just by going to school, I have free transit.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it is. The big difference is, just like trading time for money, you got to figure out what's an asset versus a liability.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal as a CEO, as a startup, right?
Yeah.
Is this actually going to make me money?
We're gonna go for like the Kurt Cobain kind of thing. Like I feel like he was kind of like struggling, like living under a bridge in like Wichita apparently. So like, and then basically going to like, once you get a couple of these these payloads from the asteroids and stuff, I mean, you're gonna make like fucking Rockefeller and like and those guys are like fucking broke asses.
Yeah, and there's a subject there that's actually pretty sore inside the space industry.
Yeah, because
you notice the space industry doesn't like to predict out 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
If they go any farther than 5 or 6, you'd be lucky. And it's because things get really strange as an Earth planetary economy. So the scarcity-based economies, gold's price is based upon its availability and its difficulty to mine.
So you're bringing triple the gold. I mean, it loses its value to 10, maybe,
but
it's still very valuable for other things. Like it's like diamonds.
That's
like it still has very.
So when you hear asteroid mining, we had talked about this. When you talk about asteroid mining, gold is a good one because we do use it in a lot of things. Silver's a good one. Yeah, because we use it as a catalyst with platinum.
Yeah. The only thing I worry about with the asteroid mining, I worry about leaving trash out there and then just fucking up the global economy. Those are the two things I worry about mostly.
Here's the great thing. It's infinite.
Supposedly, so far.
It literally is infinite.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I don't know that it is.
So the moral dilemmas. I did a speech down at University of Mississippi for their law department.
They got a university down there now?
Yeah.
I was joking.
So at Ole Miss, I brought this up. I said, what is the legal requirement? If we find one microbe on a planetary body, let's say we go to an asteroid and we find a single microbe there, does that microbe now own that planet? Can we come and mine that planet down to its core? Literally mine it to its core. Can we pollute it? Can we say, okay, this is a pollution planet. We're going to drop all our dangerous stuff onto this planet. And these are things that we have to think about. These are things that Bella's generation has to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the rivers in like Brazil or like the garbage patch in like Pacific Ocean. Like, that's what I feel like we're going to do to space. Like, especially, I mean, it's not about like once we go to the moon or like the asteroids orbiting the Earth. It's like the asteroid belt.
Well,
like once we devour that, we're going to devour that.
We're looking at Saturn, right?
Yeah.
As of right now, if we do the genetic genome on an alien, we own that DNA sequence.
Huh.
That's the
Your
law.
Company would, or?
The company would own that DNA sequence. That's how the law works right now.
Holy shit.
If you're the one that gets the genome, it's a patentable genome.
So it's like basically just being like the Lewis and Clark of space, pretty much. Like
pretty much. But there's got to be, and that's what we're really looking at, is we got to figure out how to give direction without enforcement.
Yeah.
Okay, because Space Force is going to be great, but you think the Wild West was bad. You'll be lucky if we tell you what we are doing, if you even understand if we tell you what we're doing.
Yeah, that's
okay.
The barrier to,
so we may not tell you in spaceflight what we're doing, and then even if we do tell you, you may not understand it. Just like Titan having 164 different hydrocarbons, that data is 10 years old. Okay, this is not new
I didn't realize that was 10 years. That's crazy.
It's Cassini data. It's 10 years old that we've known that.
That's crazy.
And because you haven't been told in a certain way that, yes, there is raw crude oil on the moon Titan, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody understands what a hydrocarbon is.
Yeah.
And I think they do it on purpose.
Well, yeah, they want us dumb. We're supposed to buy things.
I don't even think, well, consumer-wise, but I also think that it scares the hell out of them.
Oh, thinking that big.
Thinking that big.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it is. I mean, sometimes, my girlfriend has this app that like will show you everything.
Skywatch.
Yes, yeah. Like sometimes it'll be like late at night. I'm like watching that happen. I'm like, whoa! I like forgot all that was going on. I'm like, it is terrifying to think about. Though. I mean,
I'm writing a paper on electronic warfare, or basically space warfare.
Yeah.
Okay, for the Association of the Old Crows, which is electronic warfare. That's where I come out of the military.
Okay.
Jamming equipment, jamming communications, jamming missiles, hiding in plain sight, stealth. One of the things about space is you're always visible. Okay. At any point in time, you're visible to 2.3 seconds of the sky at least. That's what it takes a small satellite to go from one horizon to the other.
Okay.
2.3 seconds.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's that fast, right? 17,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Fast. So you're always visible. You can't really hide anything. You can't hide your activities out there. But you get out of low Earth orbit, and yeah, you can hide everything.
Yeah.
You get into orbits that are a lot more eccentric, and you only get maybe a minute a day or minute every month that you can actually track this satellite.
Huh.
Because at other points, it's not really moving. It's moving away from you.
Yeah.
Or moving towards you.
Yeah.
Right? And the only times you can catch it are on the opposite sides of the parabola.
Huh.
Or the eclipse, right?
Right.
The ellipse. So there's a lot of danger there. And everybody's like, well, we're going to have guns, rail guns, and missiles. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're going to have directed energy weapons. You're going to have ferrofluid attacks.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing of getting to those resources first. I mean, if anyone disagrees, you have rockets.
So the resources. The big one is the high ground.
Yeah.
So there's certain areas on certain planets that you are advantageous to mining operations, colonization, even communications. There's at the poles of the moon are some places where there's ice, and there's like daylight 99% of the time, right? So your solar panels are really good.
Wow, yeah, I didn't think that's crazy.
You know, that land is first to go, right?
Yeah.
Where you can do that stuff. So there's already a land grab going on like that.
Yeah.
And inside the industry, we know where these places are.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like I was like post-Civil War on Earth almost. Like everyone's just going for all the resources.
What I appropriate to is right after the whole destination west.
Yeah.
So the Mississippi River is Leo, getting to low Earth orbit.
Yeah.
That takes the most energy, right?
Yeah.
Once you're in Leo, you've got St. Louis on the other side to do resupply, to change orbits and go to different locations.
Yeah.
What we call transition or transient orbits. So if you're going to geo, you don't shoot straight to geosynchronous orbit. You go to a transient orbit and then you go to geosynchronous. And that saves you a lot of energy on your rocket.
They thought about a lot of the problems. That's what I liked right away too. I was like when I saw I met this dude at the Cortex building. He's giving a speech on like asteroid mining and stuff. Him and some of his friends were, and when I saw it at first, I was like naming some things, and you had an answer for fucking every single thing I said. And I was like, and no one ever does. I know, like if I ask a question, normally they're like, oh well, I didn't think of that or something. And like you had a fucking fast answer, and for every single thing I had named. Like I was like naming like 3 or 4 things, and you're just like this. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I fucking thought about this. Like
I said, we're not really going after the gold.
Yeah,
we're not going after the silver.
It's the new things.
It's the new things. It's the helium-3, which is a fusionable version of helium that produces a nuclear reaction without the nuclear byproduct.
And you're telling me there's a football field on the moon?
Every football field on the moon's worth $65,000 or $650,000 worth of helium-3. Neodymium or rare earth magnets; those are on the top priority lists. 90% of the supply on Earth is owned by China, and China's record on environmental, on your clean energy, isn't so clean.
Do they even have anything on that? Like they're just pumping shit in the air constantly.
They're moving villages because they've got arsenic in there. They're moving whole populations because they're polluted the hell out of it. But that's the thing is when we talk about clean energy, you've got to go through the whole cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said the Industrial Revolution and they don't have any laws, basically. And I hope that doesn't happen out there. That's kind of what I see the trend of humanity is like. It's kind of like leave a trail of fucking Starbucks cups and fucking whatever the fuck else, talkable trash.
Yeah, that's it.
And then, it's just everywhere you go, you can tell.
Got a Nike footprint over top of Buzz Aldrin's, right?
You can tell we haven't been to Mars in a while. There's no trash, basically.
Yeah. Well, you know what the funny thing about Mars is?
Yeah.
Mars is the only planet that is completely occupied by robots.
What do you mean? All drone? Wow, I didn't think about that. Wow, yeah.
Okay, here's the other one.
That's fucking crazy to think
about. In 1969, aliens invaded the moon. We are the aliens.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, we have invaded Mars with robots, right?
Yeah, because like Avatar and like Independence Day and stuff, the way we describe aliens is almost us. We're just projecting. Yeah. We're projecting. We're the conquerors. We're the
conquerors.
We're the conquerors we fear in the sky almost.
That's it.
Because like we're just projecting our imaginary enemies with what humans are. That's right. We just want to go everywhere and take everything. Like
that is humanity has some serious problems. Like I said, if I could give you a nuclear reactor the size of your cell phone, it would run your life, run your car. It'd be never dangerous as long as you didn't open it.
Wow.
Could I give it to everyone in the world?
Fuck no.
Somebody would weaponize it.
Yeah, immediately.
So what we say
I almost would. I'm just a loser. You know what I mean? Like, I can imagine like somebody with power. Like
somebody like me in my basement, right?
Yeah.
Any technology significantly advanced can be weaponized.
Yeah.
So banning technology is counterproductive to human growth.
It is, because like a hammer could be a weapon.
Hammer's
or a tool.
a weapon.
It's the same.
The most
thing.
basic tool is a rock.
Yeah.
You can pick up a rock and bash somebody's head in with it.
Or make it a pet in the 70s.
Or you take your refrigerator and turn it into a bomb.
Yeah.
Or you take hydrogen peroxide,
yeah.
which is what they did with the Boston Marathon and the pressure cookers.
Huh.
It was an oxygen bomb with hydrogen peroxide. You put a little bit of silver in there, it boils off the oxygen.
Which is weird. This is a weird thing that it makes me think it probably wasn't the 19-year-olds they said. If it was
well, no, because everybody the reason, but if you remember, they all got really scared about pressure cookers.
Yeah. Because
they didn't want to tell you that the actual fuel source is in every American's cabinet. Huh. Okay, almost all of us have hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
As an antiseptic.
For sure, yeah.
Okay, I walked into Home Depot and I looked at Bella. I said, "Go buy me some potassium nitrate." And she started to walk away. Turns around and goes, "Where do I buy explosives in Home Depot?" Potassium nitrate is a fertilizer. If you remember the Oklahoma City bombing,
yeah,
that was potassium nitrate.
That was, yeah.
I said, "Well, go ask the guy for tree stump remover." So she went over there and she purchased potassium nitrate.
Yeah. And
this is what I told her. I said, "Look, in America, you have the advantage to have chemicals like this, to have knowledge that the rest of the world and chemicals and access that the rest of the world doesn't have."
Yeah.
My rocket is built with off-the-shelf parts. My heat coating I buy at Home Depot and AutoZone and ceramic supplies. Okay. This is the advantage inside the modern world is you have the information and you have access to everything you need if you know where to look for.
No doubt, yeah.
Okay. They're not going to tell you that tree stump remover is potassium nitrate. It's not listed on there.
They almost won't even let it be public knowledge.
They won't want that.
This will honestly probably even hinder like YouTube ads and stuff. This video from even saying it probably like that a lot of these are explosives. Like I feel like even like the book Fight Club, like just the opening chapter.
That's right. The glycerin.
They'd leave a couple of ingredients out so not everyone just made fucking explosives.
The newest one is the 3D printed guns. Everybody was afraid of these. Well, this is Malcolm Reynolds' gun from Firefly. I had to build 2 for my nephews. They demanded to have Firefly guns. But the guns they were using, this isn't a firing one. The ones they were talking about, they worked 1 or 2 times. What they're really afraid of is on-demand manufacturing.
Yeah.
So you could always build a gun. There's no law against you building a gun. Still to this day.
Yeah.
Okay? And you can buy the plans online.
Yeah.
In fact, the Sten machine gun is the easiest one to do because it's made out of bed springs and exhaust parts. Literally. Okay? It was designed to be dropped into resistant forces behind enemy lines during World War II. And then you were supposed to shoot a German and take his gun. So they're not accurate. Okay? They're terribly inaccurate.
Yeah.
But it's literally made out of exhaust parts and bed springs.
I'd be worried more about the ability to print rockets than I would guns.
That's what I'm saying. If you were afraid of the gun,
it's
you've got an orbital rocket.
Yeah.
And as we talked about, it's a ballistic missile. Yeah. I don't need a nuclear warhead.
Yeah.
A piece of tungsten this big and this thick coming in at 17,000 miles an hour can take out New York City. No radiation.
That seems like an easier way to get rocket fuel if you have the rockets already.
And that's the thing.
The rockets
and that's what the government's worried about.
Duh, yeah.
I got told that
they're probably worried about you even saying this to a camera right now.
They're I don't like. And I'll tell you what I always tell them. I'm a capitalist. Pay me and I'll go away. You just may not like the price, and you may not like my next product because I ain't done. But there's the big worry, and the government's had this for a while. The military hates it, and we saw it with some of the terrorism. The individual actor. The individual now has the power.
That take over the world, really. We can at least take a rafter. The shit you can 3D print, we can take a rafter right now.
Well, there's even something worse. We can outpace the government on technology development.
Definitely. You already kind of are.
Yeah, well, SpaceX is.
Yeah.
Right? NASA doesn't have a launcher. SpaceX got a couple. Yeah. Blue Origin's got a couple. Heck, I got one.
Fucking Red Bull. I mean, Red Bull's a fucking space program now?
Yeah. So the individual actor doesn't ask permission. If we find a loophole, we'll use it. Okay? So you can't expect to just ban everything because we're going to find a way around it.
Yeah.
My very first raccoon test, we flew a balloon to 85,000 feet. Well, the FAA's responsibility ended at 60,000 feet because of a space treaty. It's international airspace above 65,000 feet. They actually changed the law because we started flying raccoons. We started flying balloons with rockets on them.
Yeah, yeah.
Under the law, I was a balloon until I got above 65,000 feet. And then they said, well, you can't carry explosives.
That far above you.
You can't carry explosives on a balloon. I said, I don't carry explosives. According to the ATF, a rocket engine is an incendiary device, not an explosive. So literally, we went through the loophole.
Yeah, no doubt, yeah.
And we told the FAA we went through the loophole. And then they closed it, right?
No doubt, yeah. You have to tell them out, yeah.
But that's the way the individual actor works. And with this on-demand manufacturing, with an environment you cannot regulate or police. You can't have a law unless you can police it. You can't enforce it. There's no reason to have a law.
That's a good point. Actually.
You get out into the asteroid belt. There's nobody to ask permission. I want to detonate a nuke and crack this asteroid open. There's nobody to ask permission from.
Yeah.
As of right now, the U.S. government is responsible for anything that leaves its soil.
Yeah.
The Indian government's responsible for anything that leaves their soil.
Yeah, you're telling me Luxembourg's the only exception or not?
Yeah. No, that's the rules.
That's okay.
So they're responsible for what leaves their soil.
Yeah.
Financially. You get into space, eventually you're going to have people that don't come home.
Yeah.
They're one-way trips. You hear Mars One, you hear some of these other places. They're taking one-way trips, which is normal for humanity.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's only in the last 1,000 years that we even communicate on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It was normal 1,000 years ago for you to leave your house, never see or talk to your family again.
Wow.
Okay. Nowadays, that sounds weird, but there are people still today that will take that journey.
That's what my dad did.
That's my retirement plan, right?
Yeah.
I want to take a spaceship of my design to the destination of my choice at about 80 and live my life out there.
That's fucking awesome.
And then when I die, you flush me out the airlock, and my company's got a space station around wherever I'm at. That's an active space station, right?
We're going to end on that. We're getting on time. I feel like I can talk to you for like 9 more fucking hours, though, for real. Tell them about your website. Tell them about your website and stuff, and we'll kind of edit there.
Stofiel.space. We're really a private organization. We want to take all of you guys to space. This is not about engineers. This is not about scientists. This isn't even about the pilots and explorers. You're a lawyer, you're an athlete, you're an actor, you're an accountant. There is a job for you in space flight. What we like to say is the last revolution, the Industrial Revolution, was small compared to what's happening. In fact, what's about to happen may even dwarf the revolution of farming, agriculture. The very basics of humanity are going to be dwarfed by what we're about to do. And you're talking about infinity.
Ooh, big head on the beat.